everybody, I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. This is Steve coming back with another video for your enjoyment. What we're going to be doing in this session is reviewing old role-playing adventures, which are text adventures, on the Commodore 64. I have one example I'm going to use. I'm going to teach you and show you how the code works, kind of run through the program itself, and then we'll try to make some additional changes to it. Coming forward down the line, I'd like to kind of get back into the semi-language gaming, kind of with the project we left off in its own due time. Let's get started. Okay, everybody, we are back. And what I'm going to now show you is the text adventure I was talking about. It's called Old West, and you see it here on the screen displayed in Vice. For those who don't understand what text adventures are, I'll explain that. So a text adventure, as I mentioned earlier, was known as a role-playing adventure. And what it does is it accepts two commands. It accepts one command, which I'll demonstrate here in a minute, which is your noun, which can be a set of nouns. And then the next, it accepts an action verb, which is used to execute a task. So in this example, you can see, and you imagine it in your mind, that was the whole idea behind text adventures, that you're standing on a dusty street and there's a poster nearby. Now the computer also tells you the obvious exits so that you know which way you can move. NSE, of course, is north, south, and east. Back in the days, sometimes you could not move. Sometimes you get exits as none, and you'd have to do something like stand up or wake up or something before you could even move. So in this example, it's a basic program, so I'm going to demonstrate that. So what we're going to do here, getting back to the keyboard here, we're going to execute our first command, and that's your noun. Read, and you set a space, and then you're going to obviously interact with what you see on the screen, which is a poster. So read poster, and now you see wanted alive, Black Bart, $1,000 reward. So anybody doesn't remember Black Bart, he was an old Western outlaw that was very political from what I understood. And he is basically he was corrupted due to some bad things that happened to him. I believe it was through Wells Fargo. But anyways, the whole purpose of this is to find him and put him in jail, of course. Never tell you that you're the sheriff, but this is a very simple text adventure. So we'll play it a little bit here, and then we'll go ahead and probably make some changes to it, and I'll explain the code. So your directions we're going to do now is we're going to move south. Oh, actually I went the wrong way, sorry. South will take you to a street corner, but I wanted to go north because there's something we have to do first. So we go north, and then from here now we're in the dusty street still, but now we see some different objects in range, and they'll kind of list them in order there under the IC part. Here we see a horse trowel and a bucket. So we see our obvious exits at south, east, and west. We're back to the same thing again, and role-playing is all about thinking something through and trying to maybe connect things together and see what works and try to use logic to make things work. Now I have the solution to it here already, to parts of it. I haven't actually solved it all the way, and that's not the point of this, is to show you how to solve this. It's to show you how they work and just to kind of move forward. Now, I do believe it was Infocom or whatever was a very famous text adventure back in the days. Creators of a lot of, I'm probably using the wrong name, but they were creators of a lot of text adventures back in those days. And then later, other companies subsequently also, got on with it and started creating their own. So, getting back here, so now there's other commands built into it, and it's basically looking at what's called a string list. The string list is going to tell it what the nouns are. Now, I know the next noun here. Now, if you try to look at something again here, it's not going to do anything. We could probably later describe it in description, but here it is very simple, so it just kind of resets itself. Look at the bucket. Can't really do anything with that, right? But you can get the bucket, which means you're going to take an item. It says okay, and then after you go to I, it shows you what you're carrying, your bucket. You just type look again to get back. What you're supposed to do is go into the horse trough. I know it sounds kind of silly. Actually, if you type in trowel too, by the way, yeah, well, it works. Sometimes it doesn't work when you type the second command, but here, now you see, oh, we see a shiny star. Any guess what that is? So, we're going to get the star, and it'll add to your inventory. Now, here's the trick. You have a bucket, you see water, right? So you're looking at a horse trough, and you see water. Guess what? You can get the water. And pay attention. You won't see anything, but if you look at the inventory, you're now carrying a bucket of water, which is part of the solution of what to do as you go along here. So next, we're going to go, let's see, we're going to go west. We're going to explore it a little bit here. Now we're in a saloon. We see a ribbon back, we see a bottle of elixir, and our exits are to turn us back in the same direction we came from, which is east. So you can get the bottle. Oh, actually, I think there was a mistake on this one. Let me see here. Let me see. Does it take? Oh, I know what it is. So this one doesn't work by the commands. If you type elixir, it'll say I don't see it here. Could use some improvement. Actually, what they wanted you to do was take the whiskey. See, they wanted you to kind of guess that there was a command you had to take, which is the same thing as the elixir. So now we got the elixir, got the whiskey. We do have our star. Well, actually, we're going to need to go back and get our star. So I'm going to drop the water for now. Because if you carry too many items, you won't be able to. Which is another thing. You can't carry so many items in a adventure. So. Oh, I already got the shiny star. Excuse me. Alright, wasn't paying attention there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in the room. Because you can't go anywhere else, but you can remember go in those special secret places. So now you're in a room and back. And you see Black Bart. Which is the whole point of this adventure, right? So, I'm going to blow off the game here for a minute, but if you try to get Bart, well actually, first we'll look at Bart, and this is a command I put in myself. He's a dangerous outlaw, be careful. So there's a clue for you. So, if you try to get Black Bart gets mad, he draws his revolver, that's the end. It kind of cuts off the adventure for you. Now you're forced to restart. I think I might be able to continue. Nice thing about knowing how to get around on a computer. So we actually ended up with Black Bart too. Interesting. So I'm going to exit out because we kind of cheated to get Black Bart here, but I'll show you. We'll run it again. This is how it starts off, by the way. So you're hearing a horse and range and a noise. Okay. So get the trowel, get the star. We'll leave the bucket this time. Actually, west. Get the whiskey. You can also type in 3-letter commands. That's kind of how these adventures work. And go in the room in the back. And you can't get Black Bart until you do something. Can we look at the star? No. Go in the room. Give whiskey. And of course he's the only one standing there, so he'll take it. Black Bart drinks elixir and immediately falls asleep. Now you can actually get him. And see, that's how you pick him up. So that was the solution, was to give him the whiskey and to pick him up. Because he's drunk now. Okay. So the next thing we'll do is we'll do some more exploring here. Just to take a look. So we have a general store. We see a bobby pin and a sack of cement. So we have in our items possession, we can drop, well we don't want to drop Black Bart, so we can actually get some things here anyway. We'll get the bobby pin and we'll get the sack of cement. We'll go west again, and this time we'll go back south. And now we're in the dusty street. We're going to go east. So we're in the sheriff's office. So from here, we see there's a locked drawer and there's a jail that's also locked. And you can go back the direction you came in. Now, this is another thing about text adventures is there's a secret room here that we haven't seen yet. And it's going to be beyond the jail cell, of course. In other words, you're just going to be able to, the jail cell will be the other room. But you got to get that desk open first. Now, if you try to open it, obviously it's a locked desk. It's going to say can't. New desk. So, it doesn't understand that. Open the jail cell. It says they can't because they're locked. But if you saw earlier, I picked up something. Let's look at it and examine what we're carrying here. We're carrying a bobby pin. Could be of use. We're carrying a shiny star. That's our badge. And we're carrying the sleeping black Bart. So, what we actually want to do is this. I think it's used the bobby pin. Oh, no, it's not used the bobby pin. So we're trying to jimmy a lock with the bobby pin. So, I believe it's pick lock. Yeah, pick lock. Now if we look again, watch. The desk is now unlocked. So, we open the desk. We got something there, so we have to relook again. And we see a key. Of course, keys could open up the jail cell, right? Now, some people might try this. You might try to open the jail cell. Oh, let's do that again. Open jail. Now say can't. We'll say, okay, wait a minute. I got the key. I should be able to open the jail cell. Well, with the text adventures, you're doing it interactively. Some of them very, very specific. In this case, you're standing in a room, your sheriff's office. You see a desk that's unlocked. You were able to open it because it's already unlocked, right? You also see a jail cell that's still locked. So, it's kind of giving you a clue there. Unlock the jail cell. That was the answer. You had to unlock the jail cell. Now, you obviously, it opened up another exit here that we could move in to move forward. We're now in the jail cell. So, we also see a sink and an empty window here. So, giving you some more clues here. Let's take a look at our inventory again. Whoops. We have the bobby pin, shiny star, sleeping black Bart. I think I'm just gonna exit here for a minute. Never a good idea to drop keys when you're inside of a jail cell, although it probably won't hurt in this adventure. For me, I don't like to leave stuff where I take a risk. Because I've been in those adventures before where you leave and drop a key and you walk out. Guess what? You can't get back in. So, in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to drop the bobby pin because we don't need it anymore. I don't believe we need it anymore. Now we can go back west. Was it west? East, excuse me. East. And I believe we can drop Black Bart maybe? Yeah, we dropped him in because now he's in jail. There's a sink here, empty window. We have our shiny star, but we need to go pick up something else again here. Go west. Is it south? Oh, that's the street corner, excuse me. North, we're going to go back the direction we came, and we're going to get that bucket of water. See? You have to get the water, so we can get the water, bucket of water. Now we have a bucket of water. And guess what we're going to do? Watch. Oh, went the wrong way, excuse me. So we're going to go east to get the sack of cement. Wait, get cement. Okay, now we have our sack of cement. Now we're going to go west. And east, no, not east, south. So we're near the poster, south again to the, oh, I went the wrong way, excuse me. Gotta remember my directions here. So we're at the horse trowel. So we're at the horse trowel. You have to go south and then east, I believe it is. There it is. Okay, and then from here now, we're gonna do something here. We have a sink, right? Oh no, we're not in there yet. I'm sorry. Let's go into the jail cell. We have a sink, empty window, sleeping black Bart. So maybe we could pour cement? Nope, doesn't understand that. Can't pour the cement. So, can we get the sink? Of course you can't take it. It tells you what you can't pick up. So, the truth is we want to get the water. And I think we want to drop water, if I remember. Or fill a bucket. I'm sorry, starting to remember. Actually, let me think for a minute. Hold on. So, we're in the jail cell. Empty window, sleeping black Bart. We have the bucket of water. So, what we're trying to do is we're trying to mix cement. So, we have cement. We got to pour the water inside of the sink. So, I think it's fill sink, is it? Aha. With the water. There you go. Now, sink, empty window, and oh, I know it is. So you have to get the water. Do we have the bucket of water still? Oh, we had the bucket of water, so we have to get the bucket of water and pour it in the sink. But this one doesn't use the word pour. So command. I think it's use sink. I don't know. I'm just trying to remember, guys. It's not use. Oh, I gotta get it. I don't think we can mix the cement yet because we don't have cement yet, right? In the sink. Oh, okay. So we can mix the cement in the sink. That's what it was. So now we have the sink mixed in the sink. The cement mixed up, and we have water. So it's kind of interesting. Look at it. We have a sink. We have an empty window. Keep that in mind. We have a sleeping black Bart here. We have water. And we have a cement mixture. So what are we supposed to do now? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep him in jail because there's something wrong with the jail. But I'll probably let you look at that code later and figure that one out because we don't want to give it all away here anyway. And that's the whole point of text adventures. Now what I wanted to do was show you some of the stuff I've been doing here. Oh. Okay, we'll set it right there. I'm going to pause here 1 second. Okay, everybody, we are back here. And now I'm going to show you the room locations. This is a room map, and when you're creating a text adventure, it's important to create a map so you can see where you're going. If you remember when we were playing this earlier, we started in the Dusty Street poster. Dusty Street, and we saw the poster, and that's how we learned about our reward from capturing Black Bart. From then, we moved over to the north, and we saw the horse trial with the bucket, but we didn't see the star yet until we went into the horse trial, and then after that we could get the star. Next, from there, we went down west. We saw the salon, and we saw the whiskey, so we could pick up the whiskey. And then we go in the room because you couldn't get in this direction because it was barred until you go. That's one of those special commands. And then once you go into the back room, you'd see Black Bart there. And now if you try to take Black Bart, then he is going to get mad and the game is going to end. So the goal is to intoxicate him, and then once you intoxicate him, you can get him, and you just have to give him the whiskey. Now in the actual program, it does show elixir. I don't know if that was an error on their part, but I noticed they wrote whiskey here in the guide, but when I first played the game, I never guessed that it was whiskey because I was always looking at the text on the screen, which would only show the elixir, the bottle of elixir. So anyways, if you get Black Bart, our goal would be next to get him in the jail. But before we do that, we had to go ahead and go from here. We're now moving east, east, east until we see the store. Now that we're in the store, we can pick up the bobby pin and the sack of cement. I think that's interesting that you can just grab them and leave. Now, when I first created my adventure, I made it so that you would actually have to pay for items. If you try to pick them up, take off without them, you'd basically be arrested. So the next part here would be after we got them, we would go west, and then from here we would go south back to where we started, and then we would go east, and we would be now in the sheriff's office. And now we have Black Bart in our possession. We have the star, we have the bobby pin, and the sack of cement we're carrying. So we also have in front of us a locked desk and a locked jail cell. We don't see the key yet. That's why they put everything in parentheses here. If you can see that. I'll just zoom in here a little bit more so you can get an idea. And then from here we couldn't open the desk because we didn't have the key yet. So in order to get into the desk, we actually had to pick the lock. And then we had the bobby pin, so if we typed in pick or P-I-L-O for lock, then it would pick the lock. And then from there, now the desk would be unlocked. We could open it and we would get the key. You can't actually open up the jail cell because it's still locked, so what you have to do is you have to unlock it, which is another command. And then from there we can proceed east. We have Black Bart. We can now drop him into jail. And then from here you see the sink in water. And then the next goal would be to go ahead, and now that we have the sack of cement, we're going to mix the cement in the water, mix. I think it was mix cement, and it says where water or something like that. And no, mix the cement in the sink. So mix it in the sink, and now it becomes the cement mixture. And then from there, I believe you're supposed to pick up the mixture or something like that. The goal is there's something wrong with the jail cell that Bart's going to keep escaping from. So I'll leave it at that, like I said. But the next thing I want to do now that we've gone through that is I want to go forward here and go over some of the code. So here's the program in its completeness. It's not too long. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to follow along with the logic here for a minute. So we can see right here, this is clear in the screen. This is setting the colors. These are known as flags. So these are various flags being set. K1 is for the key. C1 is the cement mixture. L1 is for the lock. B1 is for Black Bart. W1 is if you get the water. J1 is that the jail cell's open. S1 is asleep in Black Bart. And then you can see it starts off here, the noises that we saw, the horse and stuff like that. And here's one of the commands that I actually added here. So I said if you're in the room with Black Bart, which is room 10, and you're typing in BL, that's what 13 is equal to, which we'll learn in a minute here, then it's going to say he's a dangerous outlaw, be careful. And then this right here is demonstrating that you caught Black Bart, which is what I wanted to explain next, which is the matrix. So I'm going to pull my thing back up here, and we're going to skip ahead here a minute. Zoom in here a little bit. And you can see what it says here. The moon matrix shows how each room connects with the others. And this is obviously the room showing starting points are listed along the left and directions are listed along the top. So these are the starting rooms, and these are the directions you can move in. And see, it says if you start at room 1, which is row 1 right here, you want to move north. You can look at the row, column 1, see where you would end up at. So if you look here, it says you would be in room 7. So if you're moving right here and you're moving north, which is this way, then you're going to end up in room 7. Is that what it says? Room 7? I was trying to figure out how they got that. So this is room 1, but anyway, room 1, row 1. But the logic works. So it's also telling you which way you can and can't move. From here you can move north, you can move south, you can move east, but you can't move west yet. West is barred off, or not west yet. We can't be west at all because there's no west in this adventure on this location. We could create a room and make it go west, but the whole idea of the adventures is to navigate inside of a map. And then here's where they're demonstrating it, and how you move the entry 1, 2 equals 6 means you can start at room 1, which is the dusty street, which is where we start at, and you go south, you end up in room 6, which is the street corner. And it's the same thing for each room. So if this one's saying if you're at 6, 3, which is what this one right here, 6, 3, you go east, which is what this one is showing, right? East. Then you end up, oh, it's on the same line. It tells which room you're going to end up on. If you go east, you're going to end up in room 5. If you go north, you're going to end up in room 7, and so on. That's how it's read. Okay, got it. So let's go ahead and find out where all that's taking place at, so we can kind of learn some more here. What we're going to do first is we're going to explore those lines to show you where this is all being read from. And I'm just going to print the actual lines so we don't get too much confusion here. So it's 620 through 640, looks like it. So right here, this is our room matrix that we just saw earlier. So, and it's doing what's called a two-dimensional array here. So it's reading 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, and so on. Just to make sure I'm still reading here. So we're now reading the rooms and their locations to see what the matrix looks like. So if we move, we already learned about this one. If we're in room 1, of course, and we're trying to move, was that south? I have to go back and look at my guide again here. North, south, east, west. Yeah, so if we're trying to move south, then we end up in 6. If we're trying to move east, then we end up in room 2. So that's basically the room matrix right there in a nutshell. And what it does is it reads these into a special array here, and it's being tracked in these lines right here. I'll show this to you. 360 through 370. So right here, remember what we read earlier, if we're in the room, which is our L right here, and it's subtracting in from 21 so it could read specific locations inside of your noun matrix, which we'll get to here in a minute. And if it's equal to 0, as we learned earlier, then you can't move in that direction. Otherwise, it's going to basically save the variable into L, which is your current room, because now you can move in that direction and allow you to move. So keeping with the program here a minute, just to kind of get you on, actually I should go back to where it was here so we can read it in order here. So when we first run it, it goes to 500. So it goes to 500 right first. Okay, so never mind, it doesn't go there yet. So it goes to 500. I was right. And we're going to read in all of our initialized variables. These are reading in all the items that you see in the rooms, of course. And there's going to be 20 items you could see. And then we're going to see these are the directions that we learned about earlier. North, south, east, and west. And then you got your verb. Verbs are in 2. G-O-T-A, G-E, P-I-O-P. So it's basically go, take, get, pick, open, put, drop, I think that is. Mix, look or lock or something, give, swallow, and so on down the line there. And these are nouns: poster, desk, sink, trowel, room, jail, window, bars, bobby pin, cement. That's the star that we get. And here's the one I originally changed. It was EL because remember I said it was originally it was WH right here. These two lines here were WH for whiskey, but that was never on the screen. So I just changed it to Elixir so it makes more sense for the program. And then next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be reading in 20 locations into LI, and this is basically telling us what we can see in the room at that time. And this is broken down into a matrix that is being read Let me just grab my notes here. It's being read from the in strings to tell you what you're going to see on the string at all times. So basically, in room 1,1, we're going to see the poster. Room 2,2, we're going to see whatever was there. It wasn't a desk with the locked drawer, but it reads the locations of the room as it's going through each one of them. I was trying to see if I could find out where I printed that. That's right here, actually. So it's on lines 710 through 785. So 710 through 785. So right here, this prints later after it reads the data to show you what you're going to see. You saw earlier when we first ran it, it says I see. And now it's reading in that matrix that we just looked at. Let me put it back on screen because I think it just scrolled off again here. One thing is when explaining things, you got to kind of keep things on the screen. I know. So that's lines 600 through 610. It looks like. Oh, it went off just a little bit there, but 600 through 610. There we go. So it's saying it reads in 20 the objects, and that's just how it reads them into the array. And it's saying is your current room, which is your L, or with the object room, is equal to the current room, and it's assigning that. If it is, it's going to print out whatever's in that area. And remember, that's reading through here, just saying 1 equals 1, right? So room 1 is equal to 1, 2 is equal to 2, right? 3 is equal to 3, right? Now when it gets to 4, there's a 7 there, so it can't print for that actual location of the room. I think 4 is the trowel. Go back and look at it again. I'm also looking at my own book here. So 4 is the window. For some reason, there's something probably hidden in that room. Now, when you see down here 50, this means that there's something hidden in that room, actually. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, not room. I'm sorry. These are not room. This is what the object is hidden, which is object 50. Which I'll show you how that works. If we go to lines 500 through, is it 514? Right there. So it's saying these are all the objects that we're reading in 20 objects. So it's reading in the arrays of 20 objects here. And we said if it was equal to, goodness sake, it scrolled off the screen again. 20. It was equal to the room. Just take a look here. So I did 1920. Oh no, I'm sorry, right here. So was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? It's 11. Excuse me. So 11 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 is a shiny star, so we know the star was hidden until we went into the trowel. So 11, 12, 13, 14. So we got 11, keeping track of where I am here, 12, 13, 14, which is the water. I think that was it. There was something hidden in the water or something like that. And then that's how it goes on. 15, 16, 17, so 15, 16, 17 was the key. I believe that was the key for the office and stuff like that. So that's how that's reading and hiding stuff in those rooms. Hopefully I'm not confusing you too much here. There's a lot to take when you're going into text adventures. That's why these videos can tend to be so long, so excuse me on that, but I'm just making sure I went through everything here. Yeah, that's everything right there. So that prints off, and then we go back to our line, which is our left off from our 500 right here, and then that's where we read the rasping horse when we first see the program, kind of introducing the horse and hearing the noise and stuff like that. And then these are the commands I was talking about. So the n equals 13. If we look at that line again, which is 570, we can almost guess at what that's saying there. and we know it's room 10. So if we look at our matrix again, which I'll pull it back up here. So room 10 is Black Bart. You see down here at the end. Right here at Black Bart. So if we're in room 10 and where is that at here? Oh, right there, 132. Sorry. So if we're in room 10 and we're typing in Black Bart for the noun, then it's going to say he's a dangerous outlaw, be careful. So this is the one thing that I added to it. So let me show you where that is here. And what I want to eventually do is put this on my website, explain it a little bit better for people to follow through the logic, because it's probably hard to explain videos and people get a little confused on what you're trying to say. So we're going to go find our Black Bart. I had to look at the map again to see which way I had to move. So north, just to make sure I move in the right direction. And there's the horse trial. We can go see him without the star and not die. Go into the room. As long as we don't get him. If we look at Black Bart, he's a dangerous outlaw, be careful. So that's the kind of command, like I said, I added and stuff like that. You can add your own little commands. But since we're trailing time here, we're probably at 30 minutes already. I'm going to have to call this one for this session. But the website will break it down a little bit more so you guys can get a better idea of how this whole thing works, and hopefully create your own text adventures if you're interested in doing that, for those who are interested in learning about that kind of thing. Okay guys, get through a lot of stuff there, so thanks for watching this. So the whole ideal is to kind of create your own adventure and then go from there. And like I said, what I want to eventually do is put this on my website and have a section explaining people who are interested in how to create their own text adventures, showing you how to do that. Now, real importantly, just making sure my timer's running here. Why did I do all this? Okay, so this was a lesson for myself, actually. Now, I've taken programs before apart, but I've never gotten a habit of consistently doing it. Now, what I'm trying to actually do now is actually spend a little bit of time taking a program apart and really digesting its contents so I can really understand it. Why is that important? For you machine language project people, this is very essential. If I can accomplish this correctly, then since I don't have our friend Siggy, and basically I lost contact with him, since I don't have him around anymore, I'm actually taking his program apart, line by line, writing them all out, and actually going to learn how it works. My goal is to eventually create a few scrolling adventures, and then from there eventually continue on, hopefully with the Spelunker project after what has been about a year or two. I don't know how long it's been a good while. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Always please like, favorite, subscribe. Your subscriptions are very, very important. Have a good night or good day.